Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Foraging Through the Calendar. With me, Jack Bous. I'm a foraging instructor here in the south of England. You can check out the website forageforknowledge.com if you want to find out more on that. But in today's video, we're going to be going through the hedgerows. I'm going to have a little bike ride through the hedgerows to see what we can find in there in the month of May. Join me in a video each month where we break down what to look for, how to identify it, and how to use it. Now, without further ado, let's crack on and have a nice little bike ride down the hedgerows. First up, we've got some silverweed. Now this is silverweed, and it gets its name silverweed because when you flip the leaf, it's very silver underneath. So that's the main ID feature for the silverweed. The edges of the leaves are toothed with these serrations that you can see here. The Romans planted this plant everywhere they knew they'd end up marching. Silverweed was celebrated by the Romans for a number of different reasons, for food as well as medicine. And one of their medicinal uses for it was to protect their feet. Now, modern times, a lot of soldiers need to protect their feet as well, and they use talcum powder 9 times out of 10. But talcum powder is a bit of a downgrade from the original silverweed to help with your feet. How did it help with the feet, you may ask? Well, this plant is super absorbent, so it absorbs a lot of moisture, as well as having antibacterial properties in it as well. So a good use for that would be to fill up your Roman sandals, like this. Now, arguably, it probably would be a better job than that, but the aim is to stick them all in your sweaty feet and let these guys soak up all the moisture. And in doing that, it would stop you from getting trench foot. And that ability that the silverweed has to soak up moisture was also very useful for extreme cases of diarrhea. Now, its other wow factor about this plant is its starch content, particularly in the root of this plant. And the root of this plant actually has more carbohydrates in it than the cultivated potato. Wow. Now, I'm not going to dig up the root of this plant today, as it would be pretty bad practice on my behalf to show you newbies digging up plants out in the wild, as that is against the law. But it is also technically illegal to dig up a dandelion root out in the wild. However, we are legally encouraged to spray dandelions that pop up in our garden with cancer-causing chemicals, even though that plant is actually very well known to prevent many serious diseases. So instead of spraying it, maybe dig it up and eat it. There are certain plants that are very rare and their habitats have been largely destroyed. So you don't want to just go around digging up any old plant. Next up, we got some burdock. Now, burdock is a glorious plant to get to know, a plant that our ancestors knew all about in these lands. In fact, it was the most consumed root vegetable before the potato was introduced to England. Abundantly consumed in the past, though not so much today. I'm sure you would have heard of the dandelion and burdock brew, though. Still makes a bit of a comeback. I have found it once before in Aldi, looked at the ingredients on the back and there wasn't a single bit of burdock or dandelion in it. So yeah, make your own if you want the real stuff. And to make your own, you need to ID the leaves first. So let's just go over them quick. Now the leaves, I'll get close up for you. The leaves, what we're looking for is these forks. So these little V shape where the vein forks out, and this fork will run all the way to the edge of the margin of the leaf. So on top, that's quite a clear sign that you can see those forks from a distance. But another key point with the leaf is to flip that bad boy around and you get this undershine, this kind of like white underbelly, fuzzy, very faint hairs on there. See if we can zoom in on them. Yeah, so you can see like little fuzzy hairs on there. So that's your burdock leaf. Let's get a little bit closer and see the structure of this plant. So as you can see, we've got a lovely big old patch of the burdock here. And the burdock, well, first up, it's a biannual plant, meaning it's got a 2-year growth cycle. And we want to be getting the burdock in the first year. And in the first year, it grows in a rosette-like structure. So if we follow these leaves, stems back, we'll see right down there that they're all coming from a similar point. Well, this is 2 plants next to each other, but you can see all of his branches are branching out of there, and all of his branches are branching out of there. Got a lovely little young shoot leaf there. Now, the whole plant is edible, so you could eat these leaves, although they are extremely bitter and not very pleasant. But they're great for wrapping up food and storing them and things like that. So in the first year growth cycle, the leaves will be close to the ground, growing in that rosette-like structure. And nearby, you're bound to find one of last year's growth, which is this over here. Let's grab a little branch of that. Oh, so this is your burdock burrs, the seed pods. And if we zoom right in on there, you can see the end of them, end of the little spines in there. They're like little tiny hooks. You see them all hooked over? And that is where the invention of Velcro came about. And so what these are doing is they're waiting for a little animal to come across. Look, that even sticks to my skin. They're waiting for a little animal to come by, brush up against it, and then pass its seeds far and wide. Inside are packed with little seeds for the next years of burdock. So as I said before, we want to be going after the burdock in its first year of growth, when it's low to the ground in a rosette-like structure like you see here. In the second year, when the plant bolts up, a lot of the energy is used. Therefore, the best time to harvest the root is in its first year growth cycle. A lot of the nutrients that's present in the root is used when the plant bolts up, goes into seed and flower. Getting it in the first year is when it will have maximum nutrition. And the root is a real prize. It's huge. It's about the size of your average forearm, and it goes deep into the ground. I've never actually managed to get the entire root up in one dig. It always sort of breaks on me about halfway up, which is not a problem because then the plant will just regrow again out of that same root. And again, it is technically illegal to dig up burdock roots out in the wild. But if you find yourself a landowner and ask them nicely if you can dig up some of their burdock, I'm sure they will not mind. In fact, I'm sure they'll ask you to grab as much as you can do. Burdock grows like wildfire in the fields, and most landowners just like their fields nice and grassy. Right, so as we're cycling along these lanes, let's see what we can ID along the way. So all these white flowers that you can see just here, that's all cow parsley. Look how far it's going, all the way down. So we've got cow parsley, there's some more burdock I just drove past, and a little bit of hogweed. Oh, some buttercups. Oh, vetch, we've got to do vetch. I've just seen some vetch. I might have to go back for that vetch. Right, so this is our vetch. Let's grab a little bit there. Vetch is a gorgeous little plant to add to salads mainly. It's a beautiful one in a salad. When IDing the vetch, you're basically looking for these little tendrils at the end of the leaf there. You can see in my finger, and they use them to climb up other plants. Yeah, vetch is a nice easy one to gather up and just munch along your way, or like I say, add to salads. It's a beautiful one just eaten raw, and it tastes just like sweet peas. A lovely sweetness to that. It's like a sweet pea straight from the garden. And there's tons of it all over these hedgerow. Nice old patch of it here. So you can gather up a huge amount of it really quickly, bulk up your salads and make them taste just like sweet peas. It's in the pea family, and the pea family is one of the largest plant families in the world. There are some vetches with some toxins present. Really, you want to be eating any of the vetch with purple to pink flowers. So if you find a patch like this, you can log it in your head for the early spring, as when it's all coming up then, you're going to have the lovely pea shoot-like leaves, but no flowers to be sure. Wait until it flowers, find yourself with some nice purple or pink vetch, and tuck on in. Later on in the year, these will form little pea pods, and there will be some peas present, but they're tiny little minuscule peas, and you do need to cook them before consumption. So it's quite a long, laborious task getting a meal out of the actual peas themselves. But stick to these young shoots and they're absolutely gorgeous. And next up, we've got wild oregano. Now, I probably don't need to tell you how to use oregano. You probably already stick it on your pasta. But oregano fresh is absolutely gorgeous, just as it is dried. Wild oregano is also absolutely packed with antifungal properties, so another good one to stick in your sandals. Oregano is in the mint family, and all the mints share some characteristics amongst themselves. They have a square stem, so when you roll the stem in your fingers, you can feel its square formation. They have opposing leaves, so leaves growing on opposite sides of the stem, and they're often hairy. Now, the oregano is hiding in this sea of green, and here it is, hiding away in there. A glorious find. It's actually super abundant as well, so it's likely growing near to your home. Next up, we got another interesting plant that you'll find in May, mullein. Now, mullein, it's not really one that we eat so much, but it's more for its medicine, and in particular for the respiratory system. So you can make a lovely cup of tea, and this is a healing plant for the lungs, a lung tonic if you like. And another traditional use of it was to smoke it. So this could be a great substitute for tobacco. It's not going to give you the same buzz that tobacco would, or have the same taste and flavour, but this isn't going to do the same damage to your health. The Native Americans have a long history of smoking mullein. It's also been smoked straight in a pipe to clear congestion, similar to the relief that is received when chugging on an inhaler for asthma. Now I know some of that might seem hard to believe, but yeah, look it up, mullein, or smoking mullein, and the health benefits for it. Now I really could go on and on during the month of May, as there's such an abundance out in these hedgerows. But I thought I'd finish it up on the Mayflower. I don't want to overwhelm you, as foraging can get quite overwhelming, especially when you pick up these books for the first time and start seeing how much opportunity there really is out there. It's a lot to take in. So let's end it up here on the Mayflower. A gorgeous, pretty decoration for all our hedgerows. And why not take it home and make it a gorgeous decoration for your dinner? Let's have a little close up. So here we are, the gorgeous Mayflower, aka Hawthorn. Now the young leaves as well are also edible. These are little nice lime green ones, even now in May, are good to eat. The leaves of the hawthorn are easy to ID. I've always liked to think of them as like a hand, as they've got 5 main points coming off the leaf. But in the real early spring is the best time to consume them for the leaves. And at this time of year in May, we've got the gorgeous flowers, and they've got a lovely sweet taste to them. You also see these in shades of pink as well with the hawthorn flowers. Now after these flowers have had their time to shine, we will be blessed again with the hawthorn berries, a super antioxidant rich berry. And one of the famous things to do with them is to turn them into a ketchup. The ketchup naturally preserves it with the vinegar and sugar that's in there, and then you just get an antioxidant rich ketchup that you can use all throughout the year. There's not a huge amount of flavour and taste to the hawthorn berries, but it's those antioxidants that we're really after. Stay tuned for later on in the year and episode by episode, and when we get to the hawthorn berries you can have a look at them then. Enjoy this glorious month of May, and enjoy searching for the knowledge that's going to amplify your time out in the hedgerow and reward you with all sorts of goodies that you can take on home with you for food and medicine. Stick around for the next episode. If you did like this video, do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.